Next, we have Jonathan Sanders, CEO and founder of Light.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be here today in Stockholm, and thank you so much for Berns for hosting us here today. It is truly a stunning and beautiful venue. I'm Jonathan Sanders. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Light. And we started the company about 3 years ago in order to make global finances easier for companies. Companies like Lovable and Legora that scale internationally incredibly quickly, that need a solution that allows them to scale just as easily as their CRM, as their design tools, as their product tools, as their browser allows them to scale. And we are mainly competing against the likes of SAP, Workday, Oracle, and a few others in our space of what you can call the ERP or the finance and accounting space. The last large innovation that happened in the finance space was about 500 years ago, when a couple of merchants in Florence needed a little bit better insight, control, and transparency into how much they bought and how much they sold and whether they made money off the trades. Florence back then was a large trade city controlled by the Medicis, and here are some beautiful coins from the Medici. And the large innovation that happened back then was the double entry bookkeeping. And since then, the second largest innovation has been wrapping that double entry logic inside of some beautiful COBOL code back in the 80s. In the beginning, it was called System Application Processing, or SAP, as you might know it. And today, most people would just know it as the ERP. And one of the things that we're here to talk about is how does this phenomenon of having infinite intelligence available to you change how you build, deliver, and use products. We're here to talk about the future, and finance has always been a little bit stuck at looking at the past. And since the days of the Medici, not a lot has happened. And we believe that everything is changing, not only in finance, also in other fields, as you just saw, but certainly in the area of finance, where you can actually start to migrate and converge together what is happening in the domain of legal and compliance together with what is happening to your numbers. And we are thinking about this as the move from static to organic. So we're going to talk a little bit more about where we think everything is going and the journey that we're on. Fundamentally, the problem that we're trying to solve is we are serving companies, and we're serving humans, and we're serving teams that are organic beings. So teams, companies evolve over time. The context switches. How you work at 9 a.m. Monday morning with your colleagues is different from how you work at 4 p.m. On Friday when you're together with Luke from marketing. And it's also different from how you work together with your loved one, or how you interact with your loved ones. So companies are organic beings, and they change naturally over time. And one of the big sort of limiting factors in how they operate with machines and software has been that it is completely static, inorganic, deterministic, and it doesn't change at all. And what we believe the future holds is that software and the way that enterprise gets served by their software will be in the form of organic software. And what we mean by that is that it learns, and it actions, and it adapts. So we looked a little bit about how software can learn really rapidly from Max's example of how we can upload a large amount of material, templates, etc., and it can learn from that. We saw a little bit from Charles how it can actually action things. You instruct it to do certain things, and then it actions. We have those elements as well in the Light platform. And where it becomes the next frontier is where it actually learns to adapt. It looks at how you use the software as an individual. It looks at how you use the software as a team. And it starts to make modifications to how it operates to better serve you as an individual head of finance, but also you as a company as a whole. So let's look at a few examples of how we can do this. So this, we don't have a product launch for today. But we do have like an internal launch that we did, which is how I can actually interface with my system and how I could book the flight this morning from Copenhagen to Stockholm. So let's have a look at that and go through how we can see some of these phenomena in the platform. So I needed to go to Stockholm, and now this is what I did yesterday. We just made it a little bit easier for everybody to look from the way in the back. So in the application, you can tell it to search for flights, and it has ability and a function to go and search for different flights using a partner that we use for this purpose. You can then book the flight and pay for it using the embedded payment functionality. We partner with different banks behind the scene in order to enable native payments in the platform. And what you can also do is upload and teach it how you do your different accounting policies, how you do your spend policies, etc. So you have both accounting, payments, compliance in one platform. And as you continue to use the system over time, it'll learn from that. So this morning, I was able to book a flight to Stockholm, and it got paid, accounted for, and it was in line with our policies, just with a few lines of words. And one of the things we are thinking about as we move into the future and serve humans that use AI is how you can do more things at the same time. And so maybe a show of hands, how many here have used Claude? Oh, wow, that is 80%, I would say. One of the beautiful things about that product is how easy it is to start interfacing with an agent and start using it across your application. And one of the things that is actually going live today inside of Light, so everybody who's using it can start using it today, is the ability to use multi-agent threads. So in the platform, we built multi-agent connectivity. So you don't have one assistant, you have many assistants that can work in parallel. You can see what they do, you can instruct them what you need to be done. And as you might know, it takes a little bit of time if you're asking them to do complex things like create a dashboard or search for a certain transaction and update it or do a multi-step chain. But the beautiful thing is that you can actually manage about 3 to 4 to 5 or even more concurrent agents at the time and do that in the platform. So here you have an example of building a dashboard for net MRR, and the assistant will take you through that. And another one could be scanning all of your different vendor subscriptions, find licenses costing you over 50K, and give you the insight of that. These different things takes a little bit of time, but what we've done in the platform is allow you to manage multiple of these agents so that you can be more productive and spend less time waiting for the agent to finish, and spend more time on actually actioning that insight that comes to you. So when they surface insights, you review, refine, and approve. And before AI, you were the brain running on one task, and with Light, you're now the architect directing a swarm of different agents to go and do things on your behalf. And that is what we believe is part of what the future is bringing in the world of AI. You're going from being operators to orchestrators. You're going from doing one thing at a time to start telling multiple different agents to execute several things at the same time so you can come and review and manage them. And that also means that there is a little bit of learning and a little bit of mindset switching to sort of fully get this technology's true potential. So we believe that this is the end of admin as we know it, that this is the biggest step forward in the world of finance in the last 500 years. And it's not just about efficiency. It is about killing manual work. It's about giving the finance team the heart back and the humanity back into what they do so they can work eye to eye with their business partner, whether that is in marketing, whether that it is in sales, in operations, or with the CEO. Stop being a bottleneck and running one task at a time to running multiple tasks at a time to better serve the board, their stakeholders, their employees. And I think that there is something about this new technology being maybe sometimes a little bit scary. And I think one beautiful thing about it is when we work with our clients and when we work across San Francisco and New York, as Kim mentioned, with different finance team, this new way of working basically allows you to think, how do I want things to run in my team, in my company, in my organization, and bring you a little bit of that creativity and joy back that hasn't been enabled or supported by the system that have been out there so far, but we believe that can give you a much better home. So with that being said, thank you very much.